TLO, what's poppin'? We are on Twitch. We're not live, but you can leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bells. Let's continue to grow the family from Chicago to the UK. Right behind me, you see it. Little warning screen. We do not need this at all. Twitch.com is where you can catch a live stream. Usernames at the bottom of the screen. And we also got Patreon. Monday through Sunday. Premier League highlights, UK TV shows, UK movies. How are the British English and American English different? Okay.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might...
Hello everyone, welcome to the
non-profit, educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. No copyright infringement intended. All rights belong to their respective owners.
Focus channel, and my name is Paul. Today we'll be answering the question, how are British English and American English different? One of the most commonly asked questions by learners of English. And hopefully native speakers of English will learn a thing or two from this video as well.
Yeah, I'm a native speaker, so I don't really have those type of questions. But I do realize there's a lot of variations in both. If you go to certain parts of England, I don't even know what they be saying. And I'm sure some parts in America, they be like, huh?
The truth is that both British English and American English have numerous varieties. In other words, various accents and dialects. So for the main part of this video, I'll try to focus on the most standard, non-regional variety of each.
I speak Ebonics sometimes. And Ebonics with a little bit of Chicago in it. So, like, if I really get into that bag, you won't know what I'm saying. 100%.
Each one. Disclaimer, I'm not American, I'm actually Canadian, but I'm confident that we will someday be Americans after the invasion. Standard Canadian English is very, very close to general American English, so I will say the American English samples myself, unless there's some specific need to distinguish between American and Canadian pronunciation. There are several ways in which British English and American English are different: vocabulary, accent, spelling, and grammar. Vocabulary. Let me just throw a bunch of examples at you.
What do you mean spelling? A word is a word spelled the same, no matter what. If it's English, right?
In the US, people generally say garbage or trash.
Do y'all say rubbish or do y'all say bin? Rubbish is rubbish is not the same. Okay, rubbish is garbage. Trash is bin.
While in the UK, they generally say rubbish. Both literally...
They say bin. Bin it.
And figuratively.
The game was rubbish.
Americans go on vacation, while Brits go on holiday. And that's also possible in American English. In the US, people rent apartments.
Never heard nobody say we're going on holiday in America. The British, they say gaffs.
While in the UK, they rent
flats.
In the US, if your apartment is at street level, then you live on the first floor, and the person above you lives on the second floor. In the UK, you live on the ground floor.
It depends. In Chicago, it's ground floor. In Chicago, it's ground floor. Ground.
And the person above you lives on the first floor.
Oh, wait. Basement. No, see, I had a basement apartment. I lived in the basement. My first apartment ever was basement first, then second. Because you had to go down 3 steps. I don't know how we would say it. Some people say ground floor, though, in Chicago.
If that person above you is unable or just too lazy to take the stairs, in the US, they'd take the elevator.
Lift.
In the UK, they'd take the lift. When you're bored at home, in the US, you might turn on the TV.
The TV in England is telly.
While in the UK, you would turn on the telly. When you step outside of your building to go for a walk, in the US, you might walk on the sidewalk.
Cobblestone.
While in the UK, you walk on the pavement.
Okay.
And if you're tired of walking, in the US, you might take the subway.
We don't say subway. I'm sorry. We don't say the subway. Hey, look, let's go get on the subway. Yeah. We say train. Maybe in Chicago. I can't speak for anybody else, but in Florida and in Chicago, I ain't never heard nobody call it the subway ever. Subway is somewhere you eat fresh. You hear me?
In the UK, you take the underground.
The underground? No, it's the tube.
In the US, it's perfectly okay to wear pants when you're
What do y'all call pants? Dang, I forgot.
riding the subway. But in the UK,
Trousers.
you better wear some trousers too, because pants means underpants. And specifically, women's underpants are sometimes
Knickers!
referred to as knickers in the UK. So when someone overreacts to something in the US, you might say, "Don't get your panties in a bunch."
Never in real life have I heard this.
But in the UK, you would say,
Don't get your knickers in a twist.
Paul, how dare you be so crude? Now I can't show this video to my 6-year-old students.
"Oh, don't even worry about that. They'll just watch it on their phones during recess." Going back to the word pants for a moment, it can also be used in British English as an adjective, meaning something is crappy or it sucks. For example,
Pants?
That album is pants.
in American
Really? Y'all be we would just say it's ASS. That album's ASS.
English, you might say, "That album sucks." Accent. So for the US, I'll try to focus on general American English, and for the UK, I'll try to focus on received pronunciation.
What does general American English mean? What do you mean by that? What does that mean? What are you trying to say? Just say it. Just say what you're saying.
The accents you're likely to hear on CNN and the BBC, respectively.
There it is. That's saying it without saying it. Paul, I'm reading between the lines. Talk to me.
R sounds. American English is rhotic, meaning that R sounds are always clearly pronounced. British English is non-rhotic,
Non-rhotic?
meaning that the R sound is not pronounced unless it's followed
Water. Water. Wait, that's a T. Dang.
by a vowel sound. Listen to the difference. My father's in the car.
My father's in the car.
Let's focus on two
What?
words. Father,
Father.
car.
Father.
Car.
Notice
Car.
that the final R sound is not pronounced in British English. Father ends in a simple schwa vowel, like father. And in car,
Schwa.
the vowel sound is lengthened in place of the R sound.
Car.
Now, the thing about British
Y'all know I'm keeping up with this Friday. It's educational.
non-rhotic accents that I find pretty wild is something called the intrusive R. That means that people sometimes add an R sound to a word that doesn't actually have one if it's followed by a vowel in the next word. For example, in the sentence, "I saw a film." In British English, it sometimes sounds like
I
this.
saw.
I saw a film.
You can hear that there's an R sound connecting saw and ah. I once had a British on-the-job trainer, and I remember she said, "Hello, my name is Paula, and I'll be your trainer today." I remember thinking, "Paula? What? You can't say your own name?" But it wasn't just her, that was the intrusive R. T sounds. In British English, and again, I must emphasize that I'm talking about the accent referred to as received pronunciation,
Received.
T sounds are pronounced as hard Ts. In other words, voiceless T sounds. In the US, they sometimes sound like D, an alveolar tap instead of T, an alveolar.
Yeah, the American school system failed me because an alveolar tap? What are you talking about?
Stop.
I'm
This
learning.
normally occurs in an unstressed syllable between two vowel sounds, or between a vowel and a rhotic sound, like
Rhotic.
an R sound.
R.
So in the US, people say butter. In the UK,
Butter. Water. Here it is. Here it is, y'all. Water. Butter.
they say
Butter.
in the US, stop fighting. In the UK,
Stop fighting.
you may have also noticed
No,
that
it's
the
butter.
O sound in the word stop was a little different. Which brings me to O sounds. In the word stop, the American O sound is an
Stop.
unrounded vowel,
Stop.
ah, while the
Ah.
British O sound is rounded.
Stop.
Oh. Another example,
Stop.
hot.
Stop. Hot. Hot. Stop. Stop. Hot. Oh no, this is getting my accent peak right now. No, come on, Paul.
Hot.
There's also the O diphthong in the word no.
Odothong. Who is that? Odor? Odor's thong?
In the UK,
No.
the sound is a schwa followed by an
No.
as in put. Show.
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 A sounds. In other words, sounds represented by the letter A. Ah in UK English normally becomes an ah sound in American English. For example, in the UK
Half.
and in the US,
half.
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 Words with a
Half.
in British English remain
Half. Half? Can I have half of that loaf?
pretty similar in American English. In the UK,
cat,
and in the US, cat. An exception is a small set of
Why he sound country?
words in which the A is followed by a double R, in which case the vowel is pronounced as eh in the US. In the UK,
marry,
Mary.
in the US, Mary.
Wait,
Because of the difference
Mary.
in the US, Mary
Mari. Is that Mari?
and Mary sound the same. Carrie and Carrie sound the same. Spelling. American and British spellings are largely the same, but there are
Yeah. What
a
are you?
few notable differences.
In the beginning of the video, I was confused about this. I wanted to know more. Elaborate, Paul.
This is in large part because Noah Webster, whom the Webster Dictionary is named after, made an effort to reform English spelling in the 1700s in order to make the words spelled the way they sounded. This resulted in some spelling changes in American English. Most, but not all, words that end in RE in the UK end in ER in the US.
Hard ER.
For example, center, theater, meter, somber.
Oh. And I see, if I was going to the UK, I would say century, theatre, metri, sombre. See, I never understood that until today. I was today years old. So Webster tried to reform to make it sound like it was written. Okay.
Some words that end in NCE in the UK are spelled with NSE in the US. License. Defense, offense. Some words with OU in the UK
I wouldn't even have recognized that. My brain would have changed it.
are spelled with O in the US. Color, favor, honor, labor.
Color, favor, honor, liberor. See, that's why we say it differently. Y'all be like, color, what's color? Cause y'all be like, color. Y'all just, it sound fancier when y'all say it.
etc. The ending ISE became IZE in the US. Organize, apologize. A similar change also occurs in other contexts
It looks better with ISE.
where the S is voiced. In other words, it makes a Z sound. Analyze, cozy. There are verbs ending with L that take a doubled L in British English when a suffix is added. In American English, there's no double L. Traveled, cancelled, marvelous. If you're wondering how the last one fits in with the others, remember that marvel is a verb.
So if I'm going if I'm in the UK and I'm trying to spell traveled, yeah, I'm well traveled. Now I canceled my flight and I misspell it. So what y'all gonna say? I'm American. That's tough.
Verb, and then an adjectival suffix is added to it. Grammar. There are only very minor grammatical differences between British English and American English. Auxiliary verbs. British people use shall for the future much more than Americans, as well as to ask for advice or an opinion. Some difference in preposition
Shall I make a cup of coffee? Shall I make you a cuppa?
use.
Please. But don't microwave the water.
In the US, people say on the weekend, but in the UK, they say at the weekend. And in the US, people say different from or different than, but in the UK, they say different from or different to. There are some different past tense forms. For example, in American English, the past tense of the word learn is learned, while in British English, it's more common to say learnt. Actually,
learnt makes more sense.
Both forms are used in either country, but
I think I say learnt. I don't say learned. Learned to make me sound like I don't have any future.
Is more of a tendency towards one form. This is true for other words like dreamed versus dreamt, burned versus burnt, leaned versus leant, etc.
I think I use the T.
In the US, the past tense of dive is usually dove. In the UK, it's dived. Maybe the American form developed by analogy with drive and drove. Anyways, differences.
I dove in that thing. I dived in it. It depends.
Like these are not consistent, but you'll notice some different past tense forms here and there. Past participles. Sometimes past participles.
I don't know why I'm so entertained right now. Why am I this entertained about this? This is exhilarating.
Have a different form. The most well-known example is for the verb get. In the US, there's get, got, gotten. But in the UK, it's get, got. Both forms, got and gotten, have existed since the Middle English period.
Doesn't make sense.
But gotten has fallen out of use in the UK. Got can be used in American English in the form have got, but with the meaning of have, not have received or have become. I haven't gotten the eviction notice yet.
I haven't got the eviction notice.
No, I say got. I don't think I've used gotten before. Now I'm sitting here, I'm in my head, I'm playing out my verbiage, and I don't think I never used the word gotten. Gotten. Nah, I got it. I have gotten it. Nah, come on, be real. That's Ebonics.
Just yet.
Alright, let's check a couple more sentences and see what we encounter.
Alright, Paul.
In the US, I think we need a lawyer.
I think we need a lawyer. I think we need a solicitor.
In the UK,
I
reckon we need a solicitor.
you'll notice that a couple of words here are different. British people often use the word reckon, which means think or suppose. Americans know this word, but rarely use it. And while Americans would typically refer to a professional legal consultant as a lawyer, in the UK they often say solicitor, which is a type of lawyer that does consultation. The type of lawyer who represents you in court in the UK is usually a barrister, while in the US they're usually referred to as attorneys.
Attorney.
Another sentence. In the US, I'm going
for a beer with my friends. In the UK, y'all would say, I'm going for a pint with my mates.
For a beer with my friends. In the UK,
I'm going for a pint with my mates.
notice that British people often say pint, where Americans would say beer. Brits also say beer as a countable noun like this, but pint is frequently used. And notice that Brits often say mate, where Americans would say friend. The differences between British English...
I be hearing Americans say cheers, mate, and I be like, bro, be quiet. You're from Arkansas. You're from Idaho. You're from Iowa. Why are you saying that? You want to be... You don't watch one episode of Peaky Blinder. Now all of a sudden you a Manchester gangster? Like, chill.
And American English might seem surprising or amusing, but remember, in this video I'm zooming in on the differences and focusing on them. For the most part, they're actually the same. There are some minor differences in vocabulary, in pronunciation, in grammar, and in spelling, but any native speaker with a little bit of exposure to the other will quickly adapt to these differences and be able to understand the other variety without any problem. The differences are sometimes greater if we focus on regional dialects and sociolects of British English and American English.
Yeah, just come speak regular. Like I'm about to go speak what I know when I'm out there. And that's it. If y'all understand me, y'all understand me. If I need a translator, I'm gonna get a translator.
While most Americans probably have no trouble understanding received pronunciation, they may have some trouble understanding Cockney English or the Geordie accent of northeastern England or other varieties. But as far as standard non-regional speech goes, I'd say that the differences are minimal. However, learners of English who focus on one of the two varieties will likely have a little bit of trouble understanding the other until they gain significant exposure to it. The question of the day: what other differences between American and British English are you aware of? In this video, I was only able to give a limited number of examples, so add yours in the comments. Be sure to follow Lang Focus on...
Alright. I feel a tad bit smarter. I feel like I really got it down pat, the British language. I mean the English language spoken by Brits. I really want to pat myself on the back. Low key.